Tres, dos, uno. Hello, this is Sab here in Paris, going live for the Infinite Creativity SABSANG with Sab in Paris. I just told you that. And we can look at creative exploration, transformational coaching, self-inquiry. I didn't put productivity, but it's now with added reverence. Look, it says so in that little yellow thing up in the top left. This is me. I'm looking like this today. Hello. Ready for another hour or two or 1 or 2 minutes of yeah, I'm live. I can see myself saying hello to myself on the other screen. So we're alive and alive. Things will happen shortly. If you're, well, I think nobody's watching right now, but say hello when you do start watching and we'll get going. I'm going to talk about creativity and productivity for the next hour or 2. It depends. I don't know. I did a few of them when it was 2 hours long. Can you imagine me talking about creativity for 2 hours? Good grief. But I managed to. And there were even 1 or 2 people who stuck with me a couple of times. Anyway, I'm looking at about an hour now, an hour of show, and then see how it goes. The idea is, well, I talk about, if you remember from the previous slide, I talk about infinity, creativity, and SABSANGs, and productivity, life, the universe, and everything. Curiosities. I don't care. Anything that strikes me as interesting and creative. It's much more free-flowing, freestyle than Monday, where I talk about photography, and Thursday, where I talk about writing, and Saturday, where I talk about the people in the Today's the Day group. This is a new thing. Just trying to share my screen here. I started this thing yesterday. I did a video just exclusively for the people in the Today's the Day group. And the Today's the Day group is this one. And I thought this wasn't public. It was just for those people. Because in this group, some people sometimes share more personal things. It's a wonderful group. It's really, really special. And I'm excited about it. More and more people are contributing. And they're noting one special thing of their day. And I love that. It's to remember their days so that they realize that every day, or, not every day, you don't have to do it every day, but I encourage you to do it. That's the point of the group, is that regularly you say, today's the day I did, and then this cool thing. And you do it over time and you realize that you're living good days. And what is your life if it's not all your days strung together? So that's the reason for this group. And I'd join it if I were you. And I did a special live just highlighting people's wonderful things that they talked about. Wonderful photographs that people have done. Sometimes it's a little bit more vague. Today's the first day of the rest of my life. And I countered, don't expect to get away with just one sort of comment and me not say something. And I countered with one of my memes from a while ago now. So the classic thing is, today's the first day of the rest of my life. But I don't like doing, what other people have done. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun if you said, today is the last day of the first bit of my life. How's it going so far? And, we often come out with these sort of cliches, these bland statements. Today's the first day of the rest of my life. Well, hey, but in fact, we've lived an awful lot of our life up until now. So wouldn't it be nice to look back on our lives and think, I'm okay with what I've done so far. It's all right for me. And now let's go forward instead of kind of regretting it. You can think that the rest of your life is gone. It's dead. Your past is dead. It's like you've been born today. That's the kind of the spirit of the Today's the Day group. It's like you're born first thing in the morning and you go to sleep at night. And if you're lucky, you wake up again. So, that's the spirit of that. Anyway, I've got Despina saying hi. I'm laughing at another comment. Hello, Sab. She says, Today's the Day group is really nice. I don't contribute as much, but I enjoy the posts. Well, try contributing and see what happens. All you have to do is write a sentence which begins with today's the day. And then you say something good you did. For example, today's the day I wrote this poem, and you post the poem. You'll get comments. You'll get love. And Karen says, I finally found you. Was I lost? Once was lost, but now I'm found. Vespina actually gave me another comment here, but I'm going to come back to it. She said, juggling between creativity, productivity, lives on Facebook like this one, etc. That would be an interesting story to hear from you. How do you manage the overwhelm? That's an interesting question, and I'll answer it. If anyone would like to ask questions, then please do. I want questions, and I want your insights and tips on creativity and productivity. For example, Despina, you have just spent an entire week churning out poetry, poem after poem, on a fantastically creative theme, using the first letter of a day of the week to the letters. Oh my God, I always have problems saying this. You take a day of the week and you write a poem with the letters going down. So Monday would be a line beginning with M, then O, then N, then D, then A, then Y. I mean, I'm not explaining this to you, Despina. I guess you know that, but to anybody else. And it's really cool. And she's had such a fantastic response from people in the group, on her page and the page she's doing it in. Fantastic. So, you know, how did you manage the overwhelm? Answer your own question. And so I'm not quite sure where to start, actually. I might start. Well, I'll answer your question. You know, get people involved straight away. But I do want questions. So for a start, if you're watching, I need to know who you are. And for that, you need to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. And you just say, yes, yes, Sab can see who I am. When you write a comment, I can see your name. Okay, go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just accept. Nothing else happens. I just see who you are when you write a comment. Then that's pretty much it. If you're watching here, then I guess you can see me and you can comment. So I'll get rid of that. So how have you been? What has been the most creative thing you have done this week? Please comment. What have you created this week? What are you happiest about? When I said this show is about infinity, creativity, and SABSANGs, I was going to tell you what that means. I love the word infinity. I love the word creativity. I love the word rainbows. And I like the word SABSANG. Infinite creativity, because I think that we're all infinitely creative. And we're all as creative as each other. As we lead our lives, we are creating. So nobody is creating more or less in reality than anyone else. It may be that some people are creating more visible things, whereas others are simply creating, you know, gentle moments. A touch on somebody's cheek, that's creating a moment, isn't it? Going for a walk, stroking a dog or something. So some of us, you know, maybe some of us who do things like creating pictures or poems, maybe we're less creative in terms of relationships, for example. So I have no pretensions whatsoever. I love creativity, but I'm just the same as anybody else. And if I were to be honest and not very sort of self-loving, I would say there are some people I really envy for being far more creative than I feel that I am. So, you know, we're here to talk about creativity, which is having amazing ideas and maybe, you know, starting to work on them. And productivity, I always mention productivity these days in the same breath, because it's all very well having the ideas. But if you have an idea, you think, oh, wow, I've had this great idea. And then you do nothing with it. You're just a dreamer. Dreamer. Nothing but a dreamer. So what do you want to be, a dreamer or someone who brings the idea into reality? Because for me, the creativity is like the first half of it, making something, for example. The second half is sharing it. And you could link that to productivity. You can't share something if you haven't produced anything. And for me, creativity is nothing without being able to share your creation. Well, it's something, but it's not anything like as rich as it is when you share it and then you get the returns. So creativity and productivity is actually getting your ideas to become reality. So Despina, you got other people writing poems with the letters of the date of the week. So you brought your idea from a creative idea into a productive reality. You turned up every day, you did your videos, they were really nice, you wrote poems, fantastic. So the creative side, I should go over to something else here. This is my newsletter. So the creative side is what I just said. Infinite is about the potential we all have. You see, my newsletter is called Infinite Creativity as well. And the potential we all have is infinite. It doesn't have any limits. You could say the limits of the imagination. I don't think there are limits. You know, we can imagine, anything we can imagine can become something. I'm not sort of talking about law of attraction and all that sort of stuff. I'm just saying, if you have an idea, you don't know what the idea is going to be. You can't create everything. You can only create, you know, maybe one or two things at a time. But the possibilities for creating are infinite. So don't limit yourself. Maybe it's about getting ideas, you know, because you need the idea, then you can create stuff. So the other thing I was going to say is, what does this SABSANG thing mean? SABSANG, you see, Infinite Creativity SABSANG. Well, SABSANG comes from the word SATSANG. And there's a sort of tradition amongst spiritual leaders or spiritual people who want to share stuff on that sort of level. And they call them satsangs. And this kind of teacher type person comes along, sits down with a bunch of people around him or her, and normally gives a little talk. And the people listen, and then they ask questions, and the person, the spiritual teacher, answers. And it's a very nice sharing. And it's called a satsang. And there are plenty these days, which happen. There's a guy that I love called G.P. Walsh, and he does one this evening. In fact, I'll probably miss him, half of him. But the really nice thing is, it doesn't actually matter when you turn up and when you leave. Well, theoretically, it would be, I guess, you know, kind of logical and maybe respectful to turn up at the beginning and leave at the end. But to be honest, it doesn't matter, because to be honest, the words that are said aren't really where the message is. Someone might ask a question, the teacher might answer. That's all well and good. But the answer doesn't come from the teacher's words. The answer comes from inside the person who asked the question. So I love that idea. I really like it. I've always believed that about teaching. I've always believed that the answers aren't in the teacher's answer. They're in the students' insights that they have. And they may have insights on other things than the teacher is talking about, or something completely different. And that's fine. There isn't much necessarily a relationship between what the teacher person says and the most valuable insight that the student might have. It might even be a nice sound of someone talking, sort of blah, blah. Maybe it's like a soft in the background. But you know that the person is a benevolent person. They want to help you. It's a nice atmosphere. You know that your questions or your thoughts won't be criticized. They will be welcomed. They will be thought about. You might get a different point of view on them. But the best teachers, especially the spiritual teachers that I like, are the ones who never say that they have the answers, because they can't have the answers. They can't have somebody else's answers. It's not possible. Only you have your answers. This is what I believe, and this is what I like. So the real spiritual teachers that I appreciate, they might even say, don't listen to me. They might say, don't do anything. Don't ask me a question. Don't listen to the answer, because that's not where the answer is. But obviously it's fun to chat. So that's nice. But the answers aren't necessarily in the words that are said. So that's a satsang. And I thought I would do something similar. There's no way I'm a spiritual teacher, but I love the atmosphere. So I thought I would do something like that about creativity. Blah, 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 about creativity, you know, talking about this, that, what I did, what you've done. And from that, who knows? Who knows what might happen? Nothing will happen if we don't do anything. If you do something, things normally happen. You just don't know what they're going to be. And that's wonderful. Creativity is about bringing something new into existence. And before you've brought it into existence, you don't know what it will be. How amazing is that? So that's why I love creativity. It's an adventure. Every single day is an adventure. I wake up in the morning. I choose the photograph of Paris that I'm going to publish. I don't know what it is. It kind of speaks to me from my stock. Then I look at the photograph, because I've got to write a text then, because my photographs look like this. That's my mug. Look like this, for example. This was today. So today I chose this photograph. I didn't know I was going to choose this photograph. Maybe it chose me. So today I woke up, and the first thing I do, it's actually, this is very frowned upon. I actually check my Facebook messages, and I open my computer. I'm supposed to be doing, spiritual moments of calm and peace, and drinking my glass of water, and getting in tune with the day. I know all that stuff, and sometimes I do it, but to be honest, I just want to launch into my passion. And the fact that I want to do that before or instead of any of this spiritual mumbo jumbo tells me that I found it. That's the thing I want to do above anything else. I want to jump into my photo. I don't want to do my photographs and write all day. I've got plenty of other stuff to do, but that's the thing I want to do when I wake up. And that's amazing to me. That's amazing. That means I found my thing, or I found a thing which I love. So that's why I do it. I've read the books, I've done the courses on your getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or some stupid stuff like this. There's other courses which tell you should have a good night's sleep, but anyway. So this was my photograph that kind of chose me. It said to me, choose me, choose me. So I chose it. Then I look at it and I think, what the hell am I going to write? And it's an adventure. I have no idea what I'm going to write. How can I? I don't predict the future. I haven't got a crystal ball, not one that works anyway. I've got a sort of China apple that the kitten hasn't destroyed yet. Would that do? Ooh, what is happening tomorrow? But no, I haven't. So it's a mystery. So it's fun. It's exciting. You see, I don't know what's going to happen. And then I write something. I wrote this morning. I'll read it. Chipper, cheery, fun and funky. This is the sort of modern architecture I do appreciate. Given that your bog standard bunch of rooms on a typical tower block ain't gonna morph much, at least they've made an effort to liven up the livery. I featured these buildings in a much more striking shot back in When Lady Eiffel Smiles number 126 in book 1 of volume 1. How long ago that seems. That was in about the first third of 2018, and I haven't stopped yet. The crane wasn't there, just a leery lamppost, so more mutants must be in the making. That's what fell out of my brain today, and it's fine. It wasn't a poem. It wasn't really an interesting quirk of Paris. I'm going to look at your comments in a second. Please leave me comments. Say hello, say who you are, and say something. What is the thing that you created this week that you're happiest about? So yeah, it could be a poem. It could be some sort of contentious text. It could be literally describing a curiosity of Paris, which is one of my true passions. I don't know. And this is what came out. Yaruska. Hi, Yaruska. Nice to have you here. Thanks for watching. Listen, guys, what is the thing that you created this week that you're happiest with? I would love to know. Let me know. And I could even look at it if you give me an address somewhere. I just have a slight issue on seeing messages these days. It's kind of tricky. I think when you go live, it's not so easy to see your comments. So I kind of struggle sometimes. Is that me live? That's me live. And I've got comments. Yeah, I can see these comments, you see. Despina says, yeah. Okay. So you will have to give me comments give me comments and I should be able to see them. So hi, Yaruska. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my email. And this, if you get my email, it's a creative tip or ponder every day. So please get my newsletter. If you've signed up for it, you should be getting it. And if you don't get it, that means it's gone into spam probably. So please check. You need to go to this page if you don't get it. It's infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter. It's free, obviously. And with it, you get my 9 ninja tips to boost your creativity and productivity. And it's great. You know, every day I give you a creative tip and I give you a bit of inspiration. And I give you an action point. You don't have to do it, but it's there. It's there. And there's a direct link over to the Infinite Creativity Now group, which you can join. You should get the newsletter and join the group. And every day, for example, I will, depending on what, some beautiful contributions, depending on what the, the creative thing I put in the newsletter has a direct link to this group so that you can talk about it. I'm just trying to find you an example. Well, there's one, Saturday Chatterday. This was from the newsletter, this text, I think, and you can comment on it if you like. You can also, in this group, just contribute your creative creations as Kirsten is doing, and this is just incredible. It's just incredible. I love it. The colors are stunning. The drawing is beautiful. She says she does various layers. I talked about this, I think, yesterday as well in the Today's the Day show. This, and she said she doesn't sell them. Kristen, if you're there, say hello and tell us about these. She said she doesn't sell them. She just does them for herself, and they're absolutely stunning. You know, I mean, this is like a million times more stunning, realistic than my stuff, for example. So I can be inspired by this. This is incredible. Just the shadings, everything. The roughness, you know. She did this other one as well, which was, I'll see if I can find it. Which was another face. There's Karen's. This one, I think, I don't know if I've shown you this, which is amazing. And this one has a little thing next to it with words. Pain demands to be felt. So that's a pretty strong one as well. And then there was another one that she contributed. Not this one, which is another one. This is a coffee cup, and I've got a story about a mug. I wasn't going to show you that. This is my new mug, and this is my old mug. You ready for this? This is my old mug of chili. You see, it's a mug of chili with a beautiful picture on it, and it now looks like it has a special feature. So it was broken by the kitten I'm looking after. And the strange thing is, for the first time in my life, I wasn't in the slightest bit upset. I was actually quite excited because it meant that I could put into practice a system of a philosophy, Asian, Japanese philosophy, I think, of what to do with broken things. So when this breaks, you might think you can throw it away. It's no good. But the Japanese philosophy called let me just go here. So I'm going to go to my email. So if you got Saturdays, it has Saturday's email has a list of the 5 days of the week items. No, that's Sunday. So the weekly highlights are in Saturday's email. Okay, so if you get that, and Friday it says I broke a favorite mug. Great. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see what happens. So you can, on Saturday, you get links to the Monday to Friday emails which have the content. And here it says, I broke a favorite mug. Let me tell you about this. I'll read it. I broke a favorite mug. I'll make it bigger just in case you want to read it with me. I broke a favorite mug. Great. And there's a picture of the kitten coming up. Actually, I didn't break it. A kitten did. Normally, I would have been very angry or sad. I may even have chased and shouted at the kitten, which is lying on the bed sleeping, pretending she can't hear me. But not this time. This time I thought I'll mend the mug using the philosophy of kintsugi. I'll highlight the cracks with gold paint. My mug now has a history. It is a richer mug than before. And I'm a richer person. So when I mend this and look at it, where I've highlighted the cracks with gold paint, it will now have a history. It'll be linked to that cat. It'll be linked to my moving on from just getting angry at little things to seeing them as part of the great sort of river of life. And I still love the kitten. She didn't do it on purpose. And you know what? I mean, kittens jump around. I left the mug in a stupid place. My fault, probably. The strange thing is, and this is a strange thing, the day before, the kitten broke the mug. The friend who I'm looking after the kitten for had just come back from holiday, and she gave me a mug. And there it is. Pretty spectacular mug. Lizards and stuff, which is interesting. I'll tell you why in a second. They're even on the handle. They're even inside. I've got to not do something really stupid. You know, it's like when you say, have you got the time? And you look at the time and you pour the mug you're holding over. So I've got to be careful not to do that. Inside, got to be careful, it's really full. Inside, there are lizards too. Not real ones. And I wanted to show you something else, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, so yeah, so there's that. And here's the kitten. So that's the little kitty who broke my mug. And I decided to use the principles of kintsugi and wabi-sabi, or sabi-wabi, as I like to call it, to see beauty in impermanence and imperfection. I don't really believe in perfection or imperfection. I've kind of eradicated those words from my vocabulary. What about you? Do you worry about perfection? Perfection, what does it mean? It means you're comparing yourself to something else which you think is better or couldn't be better. And then you compare yourself to that. So that's pretty pointless in terms of creating stuff. Because when you create something, it's unique. No one has done anything like it before. So don't compare yourself and just create. So that is that one. And if you click on this, you go to the post in the Infinite Creativity Now group where you can talk about it. You know, it's great. It's a community. We have fun. And there you go. So I'm just going to close that one down. So the idea is when you get the newsletter, it's short enough that you can just read this sort of creativity tip really quickly and just have a little bit of inspiration first thing, you know, on your day. But if you want, you can take it further, you can discuss, and you can certainly have an action point where I suggest you do something linked maybe to what I've been talking about. So there you go. You see, there's the page, the post in Infinite Creativity Now where you can contribute. Then, by the way, I'd like you to tell me what you have created this week that you're pleased with. It could be a poem, it could be a drawing, it could be anything you like, or it could be something which isn't necessarily, you know, something you can see. So let me know, what is the thing you are happiest about having created this week? I'd love to know. So let's look at Monday. Monday, I called this The Creative Process Never Stops. This is my new thing. I'm going to go through these for the Sunday SABSANG. So this is what a newsletter looks like. If you don't get it yet, this is what you've got to look forward to. See, it's colorful. You've got the creative tip is in this colorful rectangle. The color changes for each day of the week. It goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink. And then this is the inspirational sharing, where I offer something I have just created and give you an action call. You see an action call there at the bottom below the picture to do something. It could be going to the group and talking about it. It could be sharing a picture, so anything. And then the third part in another colorful rectangle is what's coming up, my live events coming up and my retreats coming up, Paris retreat next year, and my masterclasses. And my masterclass here is this, which is starting in September. If you would like to do a photography masterclass with me, 9 wonderful weeks, then that's there. So this one is this. The creative process never stops as long as you start it. You never know what will happen when you instigate something. It's an adventure and a risk. It's like I was saying, I never know what will happen when I wake up in the morning and I don't know which photograph I'll choose. I don't know what text it will stimulate. It could be just something about, banal, about the building, like I just did, or it could be a Paris, for me, it could be a Paris curiosity or something. Or it could be a really deep poem about my estranged daughter. I don't know. That's what's scary and that's what's exciting. But you've got to go for it. It's an adventure. Do you want to live and it might not even seem that adventurous, sitting in an apartment writing some lines doesn't sound very adventurous. But where do adventures happen? Do they happen outside really, or do they happen inside? So you can go on adventures every day inside your head if you choose to. It's exciting and scary. It's how change happens and what makes us feel alive. What doesn't make us feel alive is nothing changing, doing the same thing every day. What does make us feel alive is having the impression we are doing new things, not things that we've done before. That's why in the Today's the Day group, I'll show you what it says. So the rules, as it were, of course I've lost it now because I put there are rules, believe it or not, because otherwise it would just be any old group with people dumping anything. So there's rules for the Today's the Day group. They're very simple. To make the most of Today's the Day, you start with Today's the Day. You make it special and original. You comment nicely, maximum of one post per day. It's number 2, which I'm talking about. You make it special and original. You do something that you haven't done before. It could be writing a poem. You've written 100 or 1,000 poems before, that's fine. But you haven't written this poem. You haven't written those words in that order. That's the day you did that. A lesson could be the same. Lessons can seem very, very similar. But if you try to do one thing differently, of course, there's interaction, which is different. But if you try explicitly to do one thing in a different way that you haven't done before, that will make your day special. So it's exciting and scary. It's how change happens and what makes us feel alive. What will you initiate today? So that's my little challenge, you see. So this is a stimulating it's supposed to be a stimulating, very short little text about creativity or productivity. And then the inspirational share, this is me sharing, and the action call is below it for you. This photo inspired today's creativity ponder. Not my original on the left. This is really interesting. Listen to this. Tell me what you think. I've got some people watching. Oh my God. Let me just say hello. Despina says, yes, poems for me. You created amazing poems. Maybe you can share one. You could just copy it into a comment, please. And so as an example, we had a little exchange this week. It was pretty cool. And she says, today, the 16th of August, it's roller coaster day. How are you feeling? Did you say that today is your name day? So in name day, it's very important in Greece. And like hundreds of people phone you up and send you hundreds of Facebook messages. I think last year nobody sent me messages. That's how exciting my life is. But there you go. We've got what she says. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? I don't know. Well, I'm feeling okay. Yeah. Carolina is watching or saying hello. So thank you, Sab. You're welcome. What for? Let me know. Very nice to have you here, Carolina. I had a really interesting exchange with Carolina in a group called What the Are the Principles? And this is an internet group on slightly irreverent, slightly tongue-in-cheek, but also sometimes serious about a way of looking at life, the universe, and everything. And I belong to it, and I love anything which is to do with looking at life, the universe, and everything. But I don't call myself a 3 principles person because I don't call myself anything. And I've stopped believing anything. That's my philosophy. Don't believe anything. That's it. If people want to know what they will get if they work with me, They've just got to see what I do and kind of draw some sort of conclusions. I don't say what methods I use. I don't what techniques. I don't say what certifications or qualifications I have. None of it. I can't stand all that stuff. But how do people know what they would get with me? Well, that's why I'm here. This is what you would get. So there you go. Why are you running away? Come back. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 says, oh, by the way, Caroline seems to be watching. So she says, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, so we had a really interesting exchange. Not necessarily, this poor guy in this group, he put some question along the lines of, how do you know when you're in love or you're just feeling a type of thinking which suggests you're in love? It was something like that. Oh my God, it almost made my head explode. I won't go into details, but the question, I didn't quite get the question. It seemed like you're either in love or you're thinking about possibly being in love. And it didn't seem very coherent. And my conclusion, as some of the other people who commented as well was, which I quite liked, was if you have to ask yourself the question, are you in love? You're not in love. Because if you're in love, you're in love. You know, you're just not thinking about anything else. You're focusing on that. You're certainly not having intellectual discussions about some way of looking at life, the universe, and everything. You're trying to get into have nice moments with the person you're in love with, or you're having horrendous heartbreak because you've lost them, and possibly, in my case, thinking of writing some deep and meaningful, heart-wrenching poem to possibly send to them to try and get them back, and then, you know, or you're going to drown your sorrows in the nearest bar, or you're not having an intellectual thought inside your head about, I wonder how the 3 principles would apply to this situation. Maybe I should bring it up with her and see what she says. No. So that was funny. Carolina says, thank you for creating this space and offering ideas for creativity and inspiration. It's my pleasure. If it's your pleasure, that's fantastic. And it's certainly my pleasure. So that's wonderful. And again, for me, creativity is a two-way thing. That's the definition of it. Without someone to share my stuff with, it has no meaning. And if nobody shares their stuff with me, I also feel that I'm in a void. So, you know, I don't consider myself. I think we're meant to connect. I don't think we can be apart. You can't live in isolation. So creativity, it's like giving. You can't give if there's no receiver. And creativity is like that. You can't create if there's nobody to look at what you've created, and vice versa. That's how I see it. So I'm not on my own. When I'm creating almost with the person who is going to receive my creation. And I love that idea. And my paintings, for example, are not complete until they have been seen by someone else. My photographs as well, you know, once it's been produced and it's on a screen or a bit of paper, it's kind of dead. It's floating around until it's like I've breathed it out, and I'm empty. And it's floating around kind of in a vacuum until it's sucked in by somebody else's eyes or somebody else's, I don't know what else you would do with a photograph. You wouldn't eat it, would you? Smell it? But anyway, when it's sucked in by somebody else, the process of creation is complete. So when I create, that's only half of the process. That's the way I see it anyway. Thank you, Carolina. She says, my thought exactly. Great. Going back to 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and you had a question earlier, 𝗏𝗏𝗏. You mentioned what makes us feel alive. Having lived in the last 3 months with my mother-in-law struggling to stay alive, I came to appreciate every breath, even more, every moment, every hour. Oof. I don't think she had the coronavirus. I think it was something else, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in this discussion about love, then a lot of people went on and on about love and what it means and all this sort of stuff. And I was comparing the sort of feeling of being in love, where you're not saying you're in love. Oh, I think you're in love. That's it. Maybe it's obsessional. Maybe true love. You're not asking yourself if you're in love. You're in love. And then these people who are intellectualizing about it. And if you intellectualize about it, I don't know, isn't that sort of killing the emotion? We need emotion. I've come to this kind of conclusion that we can have big, highfalutin spiritual ideas, and we can think that we've possibly become enlightened, or we've risen above, and we can now look down on humanity and see the foibles and the quirks and the nonsense. When I do Paris retreats and people come to Paris, I have an exercise where I take them up the Eiffel Tower. This is the Eiffel Tower, the real one. The one in Paris is just a fake. I take them up the Eiffel Tower, and there are 3 levels and the ground level. So there's a ground level, the first level, the second, and the top. And this is a wonderful metaphor. It's not even really a metaphor, it's true. The higher you go, the people on the ground, and there's lots of them running around. When you're on ground level, you see them face to face. You can see if they're happy, or they're tired, or they want to go to the toilet, or they're having an argument. You can see the facial characteristics. They're not the same people. They're different, with all their little worries and, whatever. You can see the differences. There are people with dark skin near the Eiffel Tower selling Eiffel Tower key rings. There are Japanese people dressed in wedding costumes getting married en masse. There are French people walking their dogs. We can see the differences. Then you go up to the first level, and all of a sudden you're looking down on their heads. You can still see the colors of their clothes that are different, but already they're looking a little bit like they've lost the characteristics that distinguish them that I just mentioned. You go up to the second level, they're starting to look like you can't distinguish between them. You can't even distinguish very many colors. And when you finally get up to the top level, it's like you're looking down on an ant's nest, a colony of ants. All the differences that distinguish them have gone. They're just little black blobs. And in spiritual sort of so-called understandings, we're supposed to sort of rise above, as it were, and look down and see humanity as a kind of well, I don't know, if we're supposed to be being the awareness, being us, the true us, which is looking down on everything with a kind of impartial, non-judgmental, simple observation and awareness of stuff happening with no opinion on it. That's all well and good. But the problem is, we've been given this existence, which to all intents and purposes is a human one. And I don't think being human is about being unattached. I think being human is about having emotions. That's the tool we have been given to have our little existences for the time that they last. It's our emotions or feelings or thoughts or whatever you want to call them. Without those, what would we be? We would be zombies. We wouldn't even be, we'd be zombies. We'd be robots. So there's 2 sides to it. I like the idea of looking down and us being awareness, and we just see what's going on. We don't judge it. We don't have any opinion. I like that idea. That suits me fine. But the thing is, we're also human. We can't really escape this humanity. And why would we want to? This is our thing. This is what we've got. This is what we've got for this time here. So if we're going to love, and that includes feeling shit when the person doesn't want us, feeling amazing when they do, and all the rest of it. So, these sort of spiritual things have their limits, I think. You've got to go in. I think you've got to go. I love this. Just to finish on this blah, blah. I love the idea that you spend your life doing stuff like standard everyday stuff. You're not very happy. You think, what the hell am I doing here? Then you go away, you spend a few minutes or hours or years getting enlightened. And when you finally get enlightened, you realize, oh shit, I've got to go back to doing what I was doing before and just not worry about it. I've got to do what I was doing before, because there doesn't seem to be anywhere else I can get. But this time I've got to do it without asking myself any questions and just get on with it. And that's it. You've arrived. Which is why I would say to you, I couldn't be happier anywhere else than talking to this little bit of glass right here, right now. Because if I can't say that, I'm not enjoying my life, because this is my life. Ta-da! So all of that, Despina, came from your little story there about your mother-in-law struggling to stay alive. And I'm very, touched by that. And yeah, these are the things that make us human. Pain makes us human. Pain is part of being human, because we need the pain to appreciate the pleasure. The pleasure of being with someone and having precious moments. We often forget them or take them for granted until the pain starts to kick in of that person maybe not being there anymore. And then we sometimes think, shit, I wish I'd actually appreciated the good bits a bit more, instead of just feeling the pain and the rest being kind of average. So I think, for what it's worth, the painful times have a purpose. We can learn as much from them as the good times. And it's about appreciating every moment, even the painful moments. And as I told you, when I got married and divorced in that order, I came to Greece to live here for a year, And it was the year that my wife's grandmother died. And that was the first time I had lived a death, as it were. That's a strange sort of thing to say. It was the first time in my life that I had lived through a death which meant anything to me. From the shock, I was kind of an outsider. I hadn't been married for long, I didn't have a deep relationship with all of the family or with the grandmother, but I had spent a few moments with the grandmother in the little village and stuff. And in many cases, you're touched by the reactions of others. When you can see others absolutely distraught, if you're a feeling person, you will immediately feel that. So I felt it almost more through the reactions of those whose grandmother it was than in my personal feelings towards her. But it was still a huge shock to see her, to hear the first phone call, and to see the faces, and then to know that she'd passed out or had a heart attack or whatever in the village. There was no hospital in the village. They had to put her in a car, rush her to the town where they also had the apartment. And we were in the town. We got to the hospital before she had arrived. So we were waiting for the car to arrive with the grandmother in the car, not knowing if she was going to make it or not. And she didn't make it. And then, wow, the emotions that come through, and the Greeks are very emotional people. It sounds a strange thing to say, but I must admit that the British aren't that emotional. But those emotions in a strange way were very beautiful, very pure. And I almost envied them that I didn't express myself. I couldn't express myself the way they could. And then we went through the what do they call it? The wake, where she was in a house in the village for about 3 days, and people were by her side. And there were some very strong moments, apart from the fact of my wife. Then I had to try and support her, and there were very strong moments, like the moment when we knew that one of her daughters, who lived in another city, was coming to see her dead mother, And we were there when the car arrived, oh my God. To feel that much emotion. Ooh. So the way I dealt with it was to write two poems about this. I didn't feel I had the right to, to feel or to show as much emotion as them. It wasn't my grandmother, but I had to get my emotions out. And the way I did that was through writing 2 poems. So yeah, that was pretty heavy stuff. But again, I'm glad. I can say I'm glad, not in a pleasure way, but I'm glad I lived through that. It made me something a little bit deeper than before. Carolina says, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, my heart goes out to you, and absolutely what a gift to be able to appreciate and enjoy the most simple things in life. Much love to you and your family. Yeah. Thanks, Carolina. And 𝗏𝗏𝗏 says, Saturday, lovely Sab. This is a Is this a poem? Yeah. So this is a poem. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, a beautiful poetess, teacher. She has a wonderful way of teaching her kids and stuff. I mean, her school kids. And she, full disclosure, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 wrote a poem for me every day of the week. This is a Saturday one. You'll notice that the words, the letters of Saturday are in it, in capitals. Saturday, lovely Sab, is about planets and stars. Trick the moon to your favor. You're grandiose in your shine. Receive openly this love of mine. Dare even more like a star to shine and change the status quo for you and us all. Ah, my Saturday poem. God, it's really, it's a bit embarrassing. You're so sweet, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, so sweet, my God. You are very sweet lady. Ego, boom, 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 boom. Hey, people write poems for me. My mother-in-law has leukemia, and I see her appreciating life so much. She cherishes love, the sky and the stars, and this makes me realize that humans have an innate love of life, but we tend to forget it. Yes, being human is having emotions. Of course it is. Of course it is. And then I won't talk about this, but in some groups, I think it was the same group I mentioned, there were huge discussions about how this more sort of somewhat spiritual way of looking at life, if you have this, should we then worry about sort of little local emotion clusterfucks like Donald Trump, things like that? You know, shouldn't we just say, well, we're all one, you know, so if I'm perceiving that he's not a nice person, that means I have not a nice person in me. All this sort of stuff goes on, basically coming down to the question, well, if we're sort of spiritual, do we actually need to do anything about people that we think are doing bad things? Can we not just leave them and just be spiritual in our own little bubbles? It's a kind of, you know, it's an interesting question. And the question is, if you have a kind of spiritual outlook, we are all one, should we bother actually adopting causes and being political and, you know, stuff like that? And on a par with the emotional question, that I think as humans, if we want to live as humans, we've got to have emotions. I also think that we need to stand up for things that we don't think are right. Justice of some sort. It's a thorny question, but yeah, I think we need to take a stance for things that we believe are right, or to show that we're against things we think are wrong. I think that's part of being human as well. Of course, other people might think the opposite to us, but that's life, isn't it? Carolina says, sorry, I need to go. Have a wonderful week. Thank you for being there, Caroline. That's so nice of you to come in. I'm very happy to get to know you. And Sab, I'm crying with you, listening to you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I held myself back pretty well. Monday, 17th August is Black Cat Appreciation Day. Really? Being the Brecht in the talk. The Brecht in the talk? I'm not sure what that is. The Black Cat Appreciation Day. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Right, so let me just go through this. I didn't tell you about this. By the way, if you are watching, say hello if you haven't already. So your challenge, dear viewers, is to tell me what you have done creative this week, or productive, or if you have a hint or a tip about how you are managed to be creative or productive, please share it. I would love to hear it. Or if you have a question, please ask me. So this was my inspirational share. So this is an interesting one. I took this picture of a friend, let's say, in a cafe. And I thought it was great. I thought it was an amazing picture. I sent it to her. I was kind of hoping she would say it's the best photograph that has ever been taken of her. She didn't. She didn't say she didn't like it. She just didn't say it was incredible which is fair enough. So I left it. And then the next thing I know, a few days later, she sends me back the same photograph on the right. And it's been scrawled on with a kind of a heart, a blue bit, a red bit, and a little white trait in between the two. So it's blue, white, and red, which is the color of the French flag. It was done by her daughter, who was doodling on it because she had sent it to members of her family. Her daughter was doodling on the photograph as she was talking to her mother, this lady, and she sent it back to her. Her mother was completely touched by her daughter doing the heart on my photograph. So, and she sent it to me. Said, "Oh my God, look what my daughter did. Look what my daughter did." So, you know, you can never have expectations because they won't be met. But something else that you're not expecting will probably happen. So there you go. Cool, isn't it? And then my then it's the list of my events. So you can always know my next lives and the things that you can play or work with me. Play or work is condensed into the word plurk. You can plurk with me on my masterclasses and my parish retreats next year, or all of my lives throughout the week. Right, so there was that. Lesman says, Brecht is a theatre playwright, okay, who disassociates his audience from heavy emotions. Yeah, that rings a bell. I think my parents used to watch some of his stuff, but I don't know anything about it. This photo of that woman is magnificent, both with and without the heart. Yeah. And you see, this is about art doesn't end with us. It's not necessarily finished when we let go of it. If somebody else wants to adapt it, well, that's kind of what art is. There isn't necessarily an end point. Just because you decide, boom, I put a brush stroke and I'm not going to put another one, but I could have put another one, you know. So it's not saying a piece of art is finished is completely random, because why is it finished? It never existed before. So why wasn't it finished, the brush stroke, before the last one? Or why shouldn't I put another brush stroke? So it's kind of random what a piece of art is. And, you know, it could easily have been something else, something more, something less. And if someone else wants to take it and add to it, as the version with the heart on it means, you know, infinitely more to this lady than my one. But the heart is on mine. It's not on a white square. It's on my photograph of her. So it's all linked beautifully. So I'm going to chug through these. This is my new approach for the week for my SABSANGs. I'm going to go through these. Have I looked at this one already? What day was that? That was Monday. Marvelous Monday. And this is and this is Tremendous Tuesday. And it is Creativity Comes Back in Reams. Again, please say hello. If you haven't said hello already, say hello in the chat if you can. You need to be watching. The best is on facebook.com/SABParis. Then I can certainly see your comments. And I want you to comment anything that comes up for you. Make it a two-way conversation. Share something creative that you've done this week. I'd love to know. Or comment on anything that is coming up here for you now. Questions are particularly valued. I don't have the answers, but I can talk about them. You have the answers. Creativity comes back in reams. I got a prize on Facebook Live just now. This is Lesbian again. Lesbian, you're all over me like a I don't know, there's some expression. I got a prize on a Facebook Live just now because I created first. I had a poem written for me this morning. This is Despina. Because I created first. I'm trying to remember why I'm saying that. If you want to be in people's minds, you need to first touch their souls. Offering creative connection works wonders. So you create something and something will come back to you. If you don't offer anything, people haven't got anything to react to. That's why I like books like this. I like books like this, The Go Giver. it's all about, and if you want to get sort of businessy about it, there's things like the go-givers sell more. But the point is, the go-giver is someone whose objective in life is to give, not to get. And my objective in life is to create and give, or share my creations, not to get creations. I'm not an art collector, I'm an art dispenser. And that's my objective. And I don't really care what happens, but I know that things come back. For example, Despina wrote a poem for me, a personal poem for me every day this week. I didn't ask her to. And that's because I did something which touched her. She wouldn't have done that otherwise. And I didn't know that she was going to do it. And it was very touching. And that's what happens when you create stuff. That's when I'm sure she is experiencing a lot of love from people because she decided to expose herself. She did a Facebook Live every day, showing who she is, writing her poems and sharing them. And I'm sure that she is getting stuff back that she wouldn't have got, beautiful things back, if she hadn't done that. So beginning with giving is great. Why? Because it's easy to give. It's easy to start giving. You don't really need much. It could just be sending a nice message. You can always give something, but getting seems much harder and much more centered on me. So that's why I like this idea of giving. And then stuff will come. You don't give to get. That's the thing. So you don't give and you sort of note, okay, I gave this, right? I should be getting this soon. It doesn't work that way. So the Tuesday inspirational share was this. The crazy creative meme before this one was a bit wordy. So I'm glad to get back to a pretty pithy phrase here. So this is one of my projects, and I recommend you have projects. Do you have projects? Do you have a creative project? I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Do you have a creative project? You need to have a creative project. I have a few, and this one is an 81-day one. And I started 81 days before my birthday. My birthday is on the 22nd of August, which is in 6 days. I said I would write 81 inspirational memes about creativity by the 22nd of August. I wrote this one a couple of days ago. Although there's a number on it, that's the number of the Paris photo it is. This is actually creative meme number 20, I think. So if you do the math, 81 minus 6 is not 20. So I'm way behind. I'm gloriously behind. I'm creatively behind. And I'm okay with that. The project isn't dead. I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to take a bit longer than I thought I would. How does that sound to you? Do you think I should give up? Because I'm obviously not going to fail unless I do about 60 memes in the next 6 days. Well, no, I don't work like that. But because I gave myself this objective, at least I'm doing them. At least I've got something. At least I had something to say to people. Hey, I'm going to do 81 memes before my birthday. Now I have to say, hey, I didn't. But who cares? At least I've done 20. If I hadn't said to myself, I'm going to do 81 memes in the 81 days before my birthday, I'd have done 0. Do you get it? Yeah. All right. So there we are. Despina is saying, I haven't even read my meme yet. Yes, you are right. I feel the receiving of so much love, hence the overwhelm. Yeah. Well, maybe you with your job and everything, it is overwhelming. I mean, I'm pretty overwhelmed in a way, but I don't know. I get up in the morning and I do stuff until I go to bed and I sleep, and then sometimes I watch episodes of Blacklist, which I'm kind of hooked on. And then I go to sleep and I wake up a few hours later, sometimes with a kitten on my head, and carry on. Karen says, I have posted things I've done the past 2 days. They are very different from each other, but I'm happy with both. Karen, let's have a look. I think you posted in the Infinite Creativity one, or maybe in the Today's the Day. Let's have a look. No, this is in the announcements. So Karen did this thing. She said she was doing some sort of online course for sketching, and that's not it. That's Yuruska's. Really interesting character Full House there. So let's have a look for Karen's drawing. That's Dorothy, who's doing the 81 day project. She's going to finish it and I'm not. So this is Karen's. And she says, today's the day I had my eyes opened wide by a local artist. Let's have a look at the picture. And let's get rid of this bookmark thing. So today's the day I had my eyes opened wide by a local artist who started a new project where she has you look at things in a new way. That's fantastic. The first exercise was about color, but I was sitting in what seemed to be the wrong place at the time I read it. She had us look in certain directions and record the prominent color we saw each time. I discovered there is actually one corner, and I'm sure it is the only one of my house where there is nothing that isn't either brown or beige. How was I going to be inspired by that? But suddenly I had an idea. I grabbed a couple of acrylic inks and my new glass dip pen. Then I picked up the junk journal I created earlier this year. I don't know what a junk journal is, but I can kind of imagine, I suppose, I'm not sure. And went out and sat on my front step. So what's a junk journal? Is it where you take a book or something and you cover the pages and it becomes a really sort of rugged handmade journal? I'd love to see a picture of that. The whole thing. Maybe the cover is like loads of stuff stuck on and things. Then I picked up the junk journal and I went out, sat on my front step. This is the house across the street, inspired by the most uninspiring corner of my home. That's funny, isn't it? And I said, well, there's a red door. Maybe it's beigey, reddish, maroony door. So there you go. Yeah, inspiration anywhere. And you don't have to be stuck by the advice or the, I don't know what you call it in English, the instructions. You can still do your own thing. She isn't going to sort of, if she's online, she isn't going to jump out of the computer and give you a spanking. But there comes a point where you've got to do your own thing. So I think you did a great job, and I love it. I just wonder why I don't do realistic things, but I don't. I'm probably scared. I don't want people to look at it and say, well, you say it's a house. Maybe this way up. Okay, so I got Sana. Sana is saying, hello, Sana. Sana, could you tell me, please, something that you have created this week that you're pleased with? If you could even share it, if it's words, then that'd be even more amazing. Or if you tell me where it is on the internet, possibly I could find it. So yeah, Sana, wonderful creative soul, so positive. And I'd like to see, something that you've created this week. Tell me about it or something. And so thanks for that, Karen. That's wonderful. Keep posting them. I'm not sure if there's another one near there. Okay, Michelle, Ruth. Okay. So Despina says 6 days. You'll have a poem for your birthday. Okay, look forward to it. And I'm in this. We're on Wednesday, I think. Are we on Wednesday? Oh, are we still on Tuesday? I've got to hurry up. Okay. By the way, I can see some people watching. Please say hello. Say hello and where you're from, maybe, and something that you have created that you're pleased with this week and why you're pleased with it. Please contribute. Please give me comments to talk about. Otherwise, I'll talk about my stuff. So here's my meme, number 20 of 81, maybe. Inspiration comes from creating, not waiting till it's too late to be great. Inspiration comes from creating, not waiting till it's too late to be great. I decided that this series, well, it was decided for me by the powers that be, that this series would rhyme. So I'm trying to get a rhyme out of each one. I've just done 2 more today. Let me show you. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. I actually have another series of memes called the Meme Streets of Paris. Here's one. So these ones I slammed out. I thought, oh my God, I'm so behind on my memes. I needed one for today's newsletter, Sunday. There's even a newsletter. There's nothing to do. It's just a newsletter with a meme. And it says, so this one. There are countless curving routes to new. You can't know the best one, nor where it will lead you. Only that heading for the old just won't do. The reason I'm reading it strangely is because when I write them, they've got a really cool rhythm. And when I put them away and then read them the next time, I've completely forgotten what it is, which is annoying. but theoretically, they've got a beautiful rhythm and all the rest of it. There are countless curving routes to new. You can't know the best one, nor where it will lead you. Only that heading for the old won't do. So I'm struggling to get the beautiful rhythm that I imagined. This is on top of a photograph of platforms and train tracks snaking out of Gare du Nord, the station in Paris, huge station. I'm up in the air on a metro, up in the air, looking down onto a bridge, underneath which go all these amazing train tracks, which snake into the, how amazing is this? What a fantastic place to take a photograph. So on top of, I was inspired, my meme was inspired by the snaking lines, 100% inspired. I knew I had to do something about creativity, chose a picture I liked and said to something, give me a meme, and I want it now. And that's what it came out with. The idea of there being many roads to go somewhere, but you don't know where they're going to go. You don't know which road to choose. But if you don't choose one, you're not going to get anywhere. Anyway, so that was one of my memes. And the other one is, I've got some more comments. Karen says, junk journal made of odd bits of paper you might find in your mail or just around the house. Hey, bills. Use bills. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Oh, there's a bill. Great. Rip it up. And, if anyone comes asking about the bill, then you just say it's in there somewhere. That's great. That's wonderful. It'd be nice to see a picture of that, actually. The thing itself. I imagine you do that because the thing itself looks rather cool. So I've got a very itchy nose. That's why I keep doing this. I'm not wanting to sort of delve deeper. That sounds great. Junk journal. I'm creating garlic soup right now. Creating garlic soup. Not making garlic soup. Creating garlic soup, Sana, right now for the first time. Garlic soup. We're not going to kiss tonight. Not on the lips anyway, okay? If that's all right with you. Garlic soup. Garlic soup. Really? That's the main ingredient. Are you in a relationship right now? Onion soup, okay, but garlic soup, all right. Let me know if there's anything more than garlic in it. It would just actually reassure me just a little bit. Created a couple of poems with 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Oh, fantastic, Sana. Yeah, I don't actually know where I would find those, but well, I kind of do, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to find it quickly. Maybe I could. Oh God, so itchy. So if I look for, I think it's creative changemakers. I had it and it's gone because creative change makers came up a minute ago and then it disappeared. Change makers, I can't spell it. Try change makers. Confident change makers on the stage of life. I took over this group, did a few activities in it about 3 weeks ago, creative activities. So this week, unbeknownst to me, until I saw her doing her thing, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 did a series on the poems and it was wonderful. So I'm just wondering if I can find Sana here. Because I've got a few windows open. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 says confident change makers. Yeah. Sana. See what happens. Amazing change makers. Day 5 with SAB. Who's that? Oh, that must be 𝗏𝗏𝗏 saying it's day 5 with SAB. It's not really with SAB. It's just that she. There's Sana. There's Sana. Well, of course, there's Sana. They thought illusion. Am I watching birds in the sky? That's probably a comment. It looks like there's videos. I'm not going to actually, maybe embarrass you by playing the video, but I'm not quite sure where to find your poems. Oh, This is where you did, you did an amazing dance, Sana. It was incredible. And there was fantastic music as well. That's creative, doing something with your body that you hadn't done before. So beautiful, so beautiful. And the music was playing, but I don't think I would actually play it if, yeah, you know how to move, and I don't. And that's all I have to say about it. That's great. So that was a joy to watch. I watched that a few times, actually, with lovely music as well. So yeah, sorry, I can't find the poem unless you want to just post the poem for me, Sana, in the comments. So I'll go back to this. Where was I? This is something that you can do. You can write a meme on top of a photograph of yours, not somebody else's. You could do it on someone else's. I don't want to impose my thing on you. But for me, creativity should be 100% creative. I've just said that, and I just thought of another meme that I just created, which kind of suggests that's not true. Check this out. So the meme I wrote after this one was this. So I'm just going to contradict myself. Creation comes from weaving old with new. Things known that you've been shown, and the seeds they've sown in you. So, what am I talking about? Creation comes from weaving old with new. Things known that you've been sown. So let's try that again, shall we? Creation comes from weaving old with new. Things known that you've been shown, and the seeds they've sown in you. It might be self-explanatory, but I'll say what I think I mean anyway. It's about creation doesn't come from nothing. It comes from, it's a mixture of stuff. So, I mean, that's why I like to expose myself to lots of things. It could be just going out, nothing to do with what I'm planning on doing. It could be just going out into nature, exposing myself to nature, to the trees, the sky, to somebody else's conversation. Or it could be literally other people's art. It could be going to a museum or an art gallery, or listening to someone talking about something, or listening to songs. It doesn't really matter. So listening to other people's, absorbing other people's creativity, and exposing myself to situations where my brain can relax, like not thinking of anything or walking around in nature. And then the powers that be will mix all of those things together, and the brain will make connections and inspiration will pop up. For example, where did this come from? I don't know. I mean, I looked at the picture inspired it because there's a new building with the funky sort of colors and balconies, and there's a crane. So there's like a complete building, and then there's probably a new building being built. So this is kind of, and the new building created an old building. Sorry, the new building replaced an old building. So this immediately made me think that creativity doesn't come out of a vacuum, really. It's kind of a mixture of everything else that's been chugging around with some magic ingredients. That's where these words came from. The words existed already, you know, because you can look in a dictionary and you can find them. Creation that exists comes, you know, and so on. People have used these words before, but I'm fairly confident that these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, these 20 words, including 2 contractions, I'm pretty confident that they have never been put together in that order before. I did a meme once about, God, I'd take too long to find it, but it was a really good one. And it was me despairing about how I could ever be creative again, because I'm sure all the great stuff has been done. Like you listen to the most amazing song you've ever heard and you think, oh my God, no, everyone can give up. Just forget it. All musicians, burn your instruments, rip up your compositions, forget it. After this song, there's no point. You know, you could have said that after the Beatles, for example, or after the Smiths, or after Black Sabbath, or it doesn't matter, anyone you love. And sometimes we as artists think that as well. You go to an art gallery and you see just something which blows your mind and you think, huh, and my stuff, come on, you know, what the hell, what am I doing? But those guys and gals who did those songs, those amazing songs and those amazing paintings, they were probably thinking the same thing, or they weren't. They were just in the moment. So I was despairing and I thought, how can I ever be original again? So I tried an experiment. I thought of some sort of funky words. It was something about I don't know, pastel, it wasn't pastel, pastel butterflies dusting the dawn, right? Something like that. And I typed the words into Google, like one word, like let's say pastel. Yeah, million results. Pastel butterflies. Ah, it went down from, maybe 100 million results to 3. Yeah. One word, millions. 2 words together, kind of strange words together. Like if you said, buttery lizards. Let's say buttery lizards. You type that into Google. Well, you know what? Should we do it? Okay, so let's do buttery. Okay, buttery. 63 million results for buttery, not butter, buttery. So I'm going to put inverted commas around it. In other words, I want buttery followed by a space followed by lizards. Okay, so I want those exact words. It's not just all occurrences of the words buttery and lizards. So buttery, remember it's 63 million, right? Buttery lizards, inverted commas, about 9 results. So I've gone from one word, 63 million, to 2 words together, about 9. And I'm pretty sure if I add one more word, it'll be 0. Buttery lizards dust the dawn. There we go. They're going to dust the dawn, right? Dust. Well, dust the dawn. I'm sure dust would give 0, but dust the dawn. Okay, well, it's giving me millions of results, but I think there's a reason for that. There's no way 3 million people have written the sentence buttery lizards dust the dawn. So I think it's gone. I think what it's doing is it's taking occurrences of words in there. So it's probably taken dust the dawn, which is rather poetic, and it's probably not doing all of those words. I don't know how to ask for, it must contain all of those words. But if I did buttery lizards dust. Okay. No, sorry, I'm going mad. Look, it says no results found for buttery lizards dust. It's just that they found results probably with buttery in, with lizards in, and with dust in, but not, So, sorry, I was going mad. There's no results found for buttery lizards dust, okay? So in 3 words, you've gone from 1 word, 63 million, 2 words, 9, 3 words, 0. So I breathed a sigh of relief. We can still be original. There's still a lot of word combinations that haven't been used. Whew, that's good news for a poet, isn't it? I've got some more comments. So Sana, and tell us how the garlic soup is going, Sana. That would be really interesting to know. and if you're planning on kissing anyone tonight, I would really like to know how that goes. Then again, if it's for you and someone that you're going to be kissing later, then garlic kisses sounds like a poem, wouldn't it? Garlic kisses in the morning. Confident change makers, thanks for that. Love this point, Sab, thanks. Hello, Christina, how are you doing? Love this point. What point, Christina? Let me know. Nice to see you here. So, Christina, what have you created that you're pleased with this week? And if not, why not? Tell me, I'd like to know. Write it in the chat. I bow to self-explanatory Sab. Oh, you're going to bed. Just can't stick it, can't take the pace. I bow to self-explanatory Sab. Grateful for your creativity. Good night, beautiful, creative, soulful, kitten-loving man. And the kitten is sleeping quietly. There's a heap of junk on the sofa, but I'm going to show you the kitten anyway. You ready? I'm just going to try and get rid of the worst of the junk and show you the kitten, because otherwise, the ratings go up by about 3 million %. That's the ceiling. This is the kitten. Check that out. Hello, kitten. Hello. She's yawning at me. That's the kitten. Oh, you little cutie. Oh my God. You're so cute. You're so cute, aren't you? Yes, you're so cute when you're not destroying my furniture or trying to jump onto my bare leg. Oh look! No, I was going to show you. I was going to show you a war wound from the kitten, but it's in a rather top of my thigh, so I won't subject you to that. All right, so there we go. So yeah, I'm going to carry on. I mean, feel free to come, go. The point of this is you come and you go when you want. I'm going to talk about my 5 newsletter points, which can be discussed again in the Infinite Creativity Now group. And you're welcome to come and go when you want. That's fine. You know, just take part. Take part, obviously. If you don't come, then I'll be on my own. But this is I've moved over to a newsletter, and I'm covering the points. I'm being stimulated by the points from the newsletter from the week. So if you want to get the newsletter, it's obviously free. You go to infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter. Infinite. It's up here. You probably can't see it. It's very small. infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter. And I give you something creative to think about every single day, except on the days I don't. So check it out. Check it out. So I'm going to carry on, and we're on. What's that? What are we on? Are we on Tuesday now? All right, so that's Tuesday. We're going to have to go much faster. All right, so I'm going to look at Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we're going to call it a day. So Wondrous Wednesday. Wondrous Wednesdays, Creative Ponder. You get these every day. If you would like a creative ponder, and if you want to take it further, you can go into the group and chat about it. That would be wonderful. So here we go. Give first, then get your umbrella. This is exactly what I was talking about when I shared this book with you, The Go-Giver, because the deluge is coming, but people can't react to a non-entity. In other words, if you don't do anything, no one's going to react because there's nothing to react to. Make it your mission to give as much of your creativity as possible. That's it. That's your mission, and it stops there. And you'll be inundated by opportunities to do more, because that's how it works. Everything starts by giving. So that's pretty self-explanatory, the way I see it and believe it. So that's what I recommend you do. Keep the comments coming in if you like. Do feel free to comment. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly now. This was the share. Imagine this photograph. It's a photograph of 2 hands with 2 heart-shaped biscuits. Imagine this photo with only 1 hand or only 1 heart. It would be a pretty picture, but not half as rich as the one below. Sharing is caring. And the action call is, what can you share today, which may lead to something interesting coming right back at you? See, it's in relation to the thought of the day, the creative ponder of the day, or productivity ponder. And that's I really like this photograph. It's my hand and somebody else's. How about that? And I wrote something which is, I'm allowed to like my own stuff, right? I really like that, what I wrote. I don't know if I can find it, though. Got a comment. Oh, Christina, point about mixing the old with what it sows in you. Yeah, so that was the meme I just shared a minute ago. This meme here. No. Yeah, this meme here. What have I created this week? Yes. What have you created this week, Christina? A wooden loo seat that fits on a bucket for my kids to use wild camping. Is that creative? I don't know. Did you create it? If you did, it's creative, I guess. Wasn't it you that was going to run around naked somewhere? Or am I confusing you with someone else? But you couldn't, because the police said that you'd cause a riot or something. Wooden loo seats that fits on the bucket for my kids to use wild camping. Is it really wild if you've got a standard fancy pants loo seat on top of your bucket? Shouldn't you just be Doesn't sound too wild if you ask me. Sounds rather urbane and sophisticated. But anyway. Oh, and some pen testing. What's pen testing? Not so creative, but fun. Don't say it's not creative. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. You see, not so creative, but fun. Why do people have to say these sort of things? Of course it's creative, but I'd like to know what pen testing is. I mean, okay, you tested pens, but what do you mean you tested pens? I mean, you bought some pens and you tested them to make sure they work, or you're an artist who uses pens to do beautiful Chinese calligraphy, and you were trying out different pens to. You see, I need more to get my teeth into there. Otherwise, I'll just make up weird suppositions and weak jokes. Christina says, "Lol." Mind you, running around naked would actually be much more practical if you were prone to having to have sudden toilet stops, because you wouldn't have anything to sort of, grab down to your ankles and stuff. You could just sort of squat and go, as it were. And we're going to move on to Thursday and then Friday, and we're done. Done and dusted. Thursday. Oh, this is good. I like this. I like doing this. I've got something to talk about now. I'm not just sort of rambling, but not just sort of totally vague. And if you're in the group, the Infinite Creativity Now group, and you get the newsletter, it's just you can really get involved and admire other people's stuff as well to stimulate you. This was Thursday's Thunderous Thursday. They've all got amazing names which end in us. Marvelous Monday, Tremendous Tuesday, Wondrous Wednesday, Thunderous Thursday, Fabulous Friday, Stupendous Saturday, and Sabulous Sunday. They've all got 3 syllables as well. Guess how long it took me to work that lot out. Creativity is everywhere. It's in everything at all. Like the colors here, it's the colors of the rainbow. It's Thursday, so it's green. What do you do to inject creativity into things? 3 seconds thinking time, max, because any more and the inner critic has probably taken over. And that's never a good thing. The inner guardian, okay, but not the excuse, I'm going to fly here, but not the excuse maker, not the whiny whinger, not the dream drubber. When you're creating, get into the flow and let go. Then when you wake up, you can check out what happened. When I mean wake up, I mean when you snap out of the flow and you don't even realize you went into it. That's what is amazing. It's like when you're daydreaming, you're looking out the window. You don't remember drifting off into a daydream and looking out the window. The first thing you're aware of is when the teacher says, "Oh," and you go, "What?" Very, very strange. The shift of consciousness. And that's what happens with art. You don't know when you move into the flow. You just realize when you snap out of it, often because of an external event. Why am I saying that? Yeah, that's when you wake up. That's what I mean. When you wake up, you can check out what happened. You'll often get a wonderful surprise because you're not even aware of what's going on. When you wake up, you snap out of it and you look down and you think, "Oh, that's pretty cool, actually." And then you can let the inner critic know that it was fine. You didn't need them. Look, I've done that. The thing about the inner critic is, oh God, all these terms and stuff that people are so fond of. I like the approach where you don't call your feelings positive or negative. And you don't try to get rid of the negative ones or replace them with positive ones even. I like the approach where you simply acknowledge them. And you might say, thanks, because what are emotions? What are feelings? They're kind of, I think they're signals to give you information. Even, even the negative ones. But I don't think there are positive and negative feelings. Those are just labels. The ones that we don't like so much, we call them negative, but they may be the most important ones, the most useful. So I like the idea that emotions are messages to give us hints on what would be a good direction to go from here. Otherwise, what are they? So inner critic, yeah, you know, it could be just useful information that the brain's sort of telling you, just in case you want to know about it. And you can say, oh, that's interesting. That's really good. Thanks. Thanks for letting me know. But right now I'm going to do this. I like that approach. And Christine says, haha, not sure if I could get away with naked running about for long enough where I live. But wasn't it you that had that idea? I think it was. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that. Then again, I think if it was you, I saw a picture which suggested that you wouldn't be denying that it was you if it was you. There we go. And God, this fly is bugging me. All this bug is flying me. And this is the inspirational share. It's a beautiful example of a whole bunch of things crystallizing in a single creation. Today's Paris Photo Chronicle. When Lady Eiffel Smiles, number 955, no less. A new friend's appreciative comment. This is everything that's accumulated in this, or culminated in this image. A new friend's appreciative comment. An older friend's unapologetic outpouring of, let's say, love. The famous Paris I Love You Wall, visited a few days ago with 2 other new friends on a Montmartre photo tour. An artist I know who created the lovely lady in the photograph. A created poetic challenge. That was because this was partly influenced by Despina's poetry challenge. And hints of other friends, flirts and fixtures. But is it ever otherwise? I doubt it. So it's everything. All our creations are a mixture of all sorts of things. The action call is to share something in the Infinite Creativity Now group and name 3 separate elements present in your creation. I just want to show you this if I can, and possibly read it to you. If I click on this, and cross my fingers, I think it might actually, it should take me to the page where I can click on the images, and I'll read you the poem that I wrote. Turned out as a poem. I didn't know it was going to. I was inspired by the wall. It's a real sort of good tourist attraction and photography thing. It's a wall in Paris. It's kind of colloquially called the I Love You wall, because I love you is written in about 150 different languages. So there it is. You go to the Infinite Creativity Now group, and you've got the same text as the inspirational thing, and then you can comment on it. This is the original. Oh, I put the double thing in. I thought I put the 2 individual ones. All right, so I'll read it to you anyway. The poem says, "Let's love," because in the bubble, the speech bubble, it says in French, it says, "Aimer, c'est du désordre. Alors, aimons," which means to love is total chaos. So let's love. And I called the poem "Let's Love." Maybe I could find it on my. It might be nicer for you to read it as well. And it's a nice picture. SAB Paris. It's on this. I love this wall. You know, I've been in Paris for over 25 years, and this wall has always been part of my Paris experience. So I would like to show you the full picture, but I have to. The photographic challenge is to take a picture of something I've taken many times before, each time in a new way. It must never be the same way. Otherwise, I'm feeling I'm failing, right? It has to be new. So I'm going to try and find that. And the famous poem that I have just written. Are there any famous things in your town which you might try to photograph in different ways? I was interviewed a couple of times this week. Or I interview people. There we are. So this is the picture itself. The I Love You wall, the famous I Love You wall in Paris. And the poem is here. Let's love. Love is absolutely nuts. Let's love. Opal blue dress, fitting like a glove. Vexing hidden hearts, a dopey dove. Ever try, you can't deny the calling from above. And the calling from above is kind of because, well, it rhymes with love and that, but also the wall is high. So the woman is way up high. You have to look up like this to see her. And any people who have their photographs near the wall, they're way down below. So, and I was playing with that. I decided to play with the rhyme with love, you know, not that original, but never mind. Again, I don't think these words have ever been written together. It's an original poem. And in case you missed it, the first letters of each line are L-O-V-E. Let's love. Love is absolutely nuts. Let's love. Opal blue dress, fitting like a glove. Cliche. Vexing hidden hearts, a dopey dove. That's making reference to a friend of mine who did my photography masterclass and then set up a Facebook group for hidden hearts, hearts you find when you're not expecting them. It could be in puddles, it could be in clouds or trees. Really great. And dopey doves is a reference to the idea that I'm always finding birds in my photographs. I don't know why. They just seem to follow me and position themselves in nice positions in my photographs, actually. Ever try, you can't deny the calling from above. And she's calling from above for us to just love, which is nice, isn't it? Nice and positive for once, because, you know, sometimes some of my photographs are darker. That's why I call Paris the city of light and darkness, not the city of light alone. And finally, folks, fabulous Friday, and then we're done. We're out of here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay and you've made it this far, I'm not sure if anyone would. An hour and 40 in, that's amazing. You're still watching, thank you. That's really nice of you. And we're going to finish in a second. And this is Friday. So Monday to Friday, a creative ponder from the newsletter. I broke a favorite mug. Great. And I told you about this earlier. Actually, I didn't break it. A kitten did. Normally, I would have been angry or sad. I may even have chased and shouted at the kitten, who is running around now, actually. But not this time. This time, I thought, I'll mend the mug using the philosophy of kintsugi. I'll highlight the cracks with gold paint. My mug now has a history. It is a richer mug than before, and I'm a richer person. And I still love the kitten. She didn't do it on purpose. The strange thing is, the friend whose kitten it is gave me a beautiful new mug just the day before. And here it is. And the inspirational sharing and call to action was this picture of the cat. This is the cute little kitty that broke the mug, given to me by family on my son's mother's side, all the way from Chile. So it was an important mug, a beautiful mug. And for the first time in my life, thanks to kintsugi and wabi-sabi, these Eastern philosophies, I now think it's even more beautiful. And it's not mended yet, but it will be. And I'm going to do what they do, put the gold along the cracks, and it'll be richer than before. And the call to action was, think of something you have created, or you can still take part. It doesn't close. You can go to this thread in the Infinite Creativity Now group. Think of something you have created or would like to create using things which are broken or have been discarded, or, you know, it could be like making new clothes from old. That's a classic one, isn't it? Share your ideas or creations in the Infinite Creativity Now group. And if you click there, lo and behold, the group is open. You don't have to get the newsletter to be a member of the group, but they're closely linked. I'd like you to get the newsletter because there are things in there that aren't in here. This is just the first part. And there it is, you see, the picture which you can comment on if you like. So I'm going to call it a day there. It's been really nice of you to be watching, and quite a few people watching. That's great. Makes all the difference, and your comments are fantastic. Thank you, everybody. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching the replay. I really appreciate that as well. And you can leave comments. I'll still see them. And I'm just going to finish off by the things that I would like to tell you about. And I can do it through the newsletter, actually. This is what's coming up. Always at the bottom is what's coming up. What's I doing there? Some of these are out of date now. So I've just done this. I've just done this one, the Infinite Creativity SABSANG. This is it. And I'm about to go away. So if you just started watching, hello and goodbye. And I've got a Facebook Live coming up tomorrow, which is talking about photography, all about photography and photos. You know, you can share your photographs. I can talk about them. I'll share some of mine. Will you show me yours if I show you mine? And then on Thursday, it's the same thing again. For writing, I talk about words. Monday, I talk about photographs. Thursday, I talk about words. Saturday, sometimes I talk about people who have contributed to the Today's the Day group, which is wonderful. Check it out if you don't know it. And on Sunday, which is now, I talk about creativity and productivity itself, and specifically about what's going on in the Infinite Creativity Now group. That's it. And you are welcome. And I ask you to share and take part in any or all of those groups. That's what it's all about. And the three things actually that are coming up in September: 5-day challenge in the photography group, really fun, easy challenge for you to get into photography with a smartphone, but it's getting creative with a smartphone. I've been taking photographs in Paris for decades, and on a smartphone for many, many years. I've kind of moved over because it's just so convenient and so amazing what you can do with it. So that's one of my things. So there'll be at the beginning of September in the infinite creative. Hang on, what's that? No. In the smartphone group anyway, creative smartphone group, a 5-day challenge at the beginning of September. I will find it. Creative smartphone photography group. So there'll be a 5-day challenge at the beginning of September. Then there'll be a week or 9 days over which I will be promoting and getting ready in a very productive, interactive way for my smartphone photography masterclass, which starts at the end of September, about the 21st of September. And it's wonderful. I ran it in the spring for the first time. It was fantastic. Please join it if you would love to have 9 weeks of incredible photographic productivity with your smartphone and a great group of people. There you see, it's 5-day challenge, starts September. You can get to know me, you can get to do some nice photography, and the masterclass starts on the 21st of September. If you want to look at the masterclass, go to infinitecreativitynow.com and click on the button. Early bird pricing is now open. Smartphone photography masterclass. Read all about it, and it's really, really cool. Okay, loads and loads of cool stuff to read there. And get the newsletter, which is here. You go to infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter, and I will love you for being a reader. There it is, infinitecreativitynow.com/newsletter. Sign up, and you also get my 9 ninja tips to boost your to boost your creativity and productivity. That's it, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. It's been wonderful. Your comments have been fantastic. I haven't been alone on a Sunday, which has been great. And I appreciate you and everything you do for me. I sound like I'm doing an Oscar acceptance speech or something. It's been great. Thank you. And have a fun rest of your evening or good night. And have a great creative week next week. If you sign up for my newsletter now at that link, you'll get it tomorrow. Doesn't that sound good? Yes, it does. All right, leave me and the kitty alone, and I'll talk to you again very, very soon, maybe tomorrow, who knows. Bye-bye for now, everyone, and thanks a lot.